Hi, I'm Monica Smith. I'm an Extension Educator for District 7. That's Kent, Allegan, and Ottawa counties. And today I'm going to try to demonstrate for you how to do the 24-hour food recall. Before I do that, I want to help you understand some important things about the food recall. First of all, the food recall is one of only 2 instruments that we have to show that what we do in Extension, in the nutrition and education series, is valid. We have the modified behavior checklist for adults, and we have the food recall for adults, and that is the greatest measure of what we do. So getting an accurate food recall is really important. I know a lot of people haven't done food recalls in groups, and a lot of people haven't done food recalls at all, and so it seems like an intimidating process. I'll try to help guide you through it and give you some tips on how to be successful. The first thing I want to make sure that you understand is everybody, every district at least, should have one of these. This is the 24-hour food recall training. It comes out of Oklahoma State. If you don't have one, please ask your supervising educator to get one for you. They have to be ordered from Oklahoma State. They cost $40. It's a great investment. It walks you through the food recall in depth, and it also comes with the leader's guide, so it's well worth your money. You will find on SharePoint 2 different tools. One is the food recall script, which is really a written script pretty much for this video, and the other is a shortened version, a cheat sheet that guides you through this. Those are really helpful in doing the food recall and making sure that you get a standardized response. You'll also find a copy of the food recall form. Everybody needs to be using the same form for the food recall because we are going to centralized data entry. If you were at fall conference, you heard Don Contreras talk about the fact that we're going to be doing a centralized data entry, which means that we will be sending our food recalls, our entry, our exits, our behavior checklist into various points in the state where they will be done by a trained data entry person. So this being uniform, legible, and correct is going to be very, very important. When you're looking at the form, it's important that the form look the same for everyone and be filled out the same, because if you're sitting at a desk somewhere in a county far, far away and you are doing these by the hundreds, you would want them to be all the same. So it's going to be really important that you help your participants get food items here. There should be no numbers inside of here. That the meal type is here and the amount is here, that it's legible, and that once it is scanned and sent to that location, it remains legible. So light handwriting is going to be a problem, as would colored paper be a problem. So you want to be using white paper with either ink or a dark lead pencil. That's something really important to keep in mind. Okay, before I walk through the food recall and show you how it actually works using the script, I want to go over a couple of things with you. It's really important that you set the stage when you walk into the room to do the food recall. It's important to get the clients and the participants to buy in. If you say, okay, we need to do this, sit down and let's get to it, you're probably not going to get much buy-in. It's really helpful if you help the participants understand that this food recall is for them, is to help them get an idea of their current nutritional status and maybe give them a starting place for goals that they're going to want to set throughout the class. The next thing you want to do is you want to explain the form first. If you hand out the paper, as soon as you hand it out, you've lost them. They're going to start wanting to write. So everyone is going to be getting a poster. It's going to be this size, and I'm assuming it's going to be mounted onto some kind of substrate. If you take the poster with you and you explain to them, this is the form that we're going to be using. It's really important that we stay together on this form to get the most accurate results. I know some of us work faster than others, some of us work slower than others, that's okay, but what I'm going to ask is that you just try to bear with us and we stay together as a group. This is the area where you're going to be writing the types of food that you eat. In this area there should be no numbers. This is going to be lines of food. You're going to write one food per line. For example, if today at breakfast I had oatmeal and a banana, I would write oatmeal and then I would write banana. So we want to make sure that the participants understand that this is only for the foods. This next section is here for meal type. This is where they identify, did they have it for breakfast, a snack, lunch, dinner. They write this in, and then they write the amounts eaten over here. So these are where your numbers are going to go, helping them understand that this form needs to be filled out together, and that once you hand the form out, if they would please not start until you could start as a group, you would appreciate it. That's a good place to start. Oh, another thing is pre-filling the form, because you're going to find with the food recall, if you're not experienced, minutes count. So before we go into a group to do, we always make sure that we put the ID number or name of the group, whichever you want to use, the date, the person's name who's doing the food recall, and then we check whether it's entry or exit food recall. If we do that first, that's just a few less things that you have to get participants to write. Depending on how large your room is and how many people that you have at one time, if you walk the room, you're going to have a lot better results. We're taping this in a small room, and I don't have any participants here to show you. But if we were in a room, say with 6 or 8 participants, ideally, if you could sit at a table with them and do it using your poster, you're going to have a great chance of controlling how much gets written and how fast it gets written. But if you're at multiple tables or desks throughout the room, you're going to want to walk, and as you're telling the folks, okay, we just want you to write what you ate yesterday. Just sit and think about it. Don't write any numbers. Don't give us any details. Just give us the big food picture. And as they're writing, if you're walking the room, you could say, okay, yeah, that's great. That looks good. Oatmeal, that's good. I understand that. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't understand that word. Could you tell me what that word is? Could you make that a little clearer? Oh, that looks really nice. You've really got the hang of this, but could you bear down a little bit harder? That is a little bit hard to read. If you do that, you can see who's doing what and make sure that things are legible and that they're getting one food on a line. Likewise, it can help you spot individuals that are challenged to read or write, and sometimes you can just graciously sit down beside them and give instructions to the group. Okay, right now what I want you to do is think about foods that you may have missed yesterday. We call these easily forgotten foods. Like, did you have any crackers, candy? Did you go by a vending machine? You can give that kind of instruction, and while the class is working on it, you can just gently go over to the person that's beside you and say, you know, how did that work for you? Did you have any of that yesterday? And if they need help, you can help them write it. Use the script. There are 2 different scripts, like I said. The long version, which scripts it all the way out word for word from the video. And then there's this cheat sheet. This tends to work for us better when we are implementing it in the field. You want to study this one and understand it, but this is the one that we take with us when we go. It's your choice. Use whichever you like, but work from the script every single time. Even on the 600th time that you've done it, if you stick with the script, you know you haven't missed anything. I talked about keeping everyone together. Give examples. When you're using these, the one that we have, this poster that we have has a dry erase marker surface on it. So as I give examples, I can say, okay, when I'm thinking about yesterday, what did I have? I had cereal, and I had a banana, and I had a yogurt. So I'm demonstrating for them that I'm writing one food per line. I'm writing no notes in here. I'm writing no numbers in here, and that's all I'm writing. Likewise, when I come back and it's time to add the numbers to give specifics, it's like, okay, amount eaten, how much? Oh, I think that was about 2 cups. I ate a huge bowl of cereal, and I ate about a medium banana, and a yogurt. I think it's a 6-ounce container. They don't make them 8 ounces hardly anymore. I think it was 6 ounces, so that they can see what this looks like. I'm writing this bigger than the lines show on here so that you can see it, but try to keep them within 1 line, even though this is a pretty tight form. Take a portion kit with you. People, as you know, really have a hard time judging portions. So you could tell folks as you're writing, when you come back to the part where you're talking about the amounts eaten, if you ate something that you ate in a bowl, did your bowl look like this or did it look like this? This is a 16-ounce bowl. This is about a 24-ounce bowl. Or if you ate a bowl like this and it looked this full, that represents about 2 cups. If it didn't look quite that much in the bowl, that's about a cup. Or if it was just a little bit on the bottom, that's about a half cup. Likewise, something that people really need help with is judging how many beverages they've drunk and how much. So we take these, that shows if it was a cup about this big, it was 30 ounces or 24 ounces. Here's a little 9-ounce one and a 16-ounce one, so that can help them understand portion sizes for beverages. Likewise, if they say they ate mashed potatoes, okay, what did your plate look like? Was it a bigger plate or a smaller plate? Oh, it was a bigger plate. Okay. Did your mashed potatoes look like this much on the plate? Oh no, that's too much. Okay, did it look about like that on the plate? Yeah, that's about a cup of mashed potatoes then. If at all possible, project the form, especially if you have seniors. If you have the capabilities to take a laptop and projector, if you can project the form on the wall where people can see it, that is a great, great tool. Before you leave, you're going to want to review the forms, because if we are thinking about that person that's going to be data entering hundreds of forms, we want to make sure that that person gets the most legible, clear form possible so they don't come back to us, because nobody likes that. So before you go, in the last few minutes of the class, maybe 5 minutes, just glance over your forms that people have handed in. And if you have a question, get that cleared up before you go. One final thing is you need to consider your audience. You know seniors are going to need more time. You know that they have some dexterity issues. You know that they have some sight issues. And sometimes they just have some patience issues. So you're going to have to allow more time for seniors. Teens will take less time. Families with children, sometimes if it's the person that prepares the food, they all want to write on the form what they prepared, but maybe that's not what they ate. Maybe they made a roasted chicken and peas for their family for dinner, but what they actually ate was the leftovers from last night. They had some tuna casserole and a peach. So you want to make sure that what they get on the form for families with young children is actually what they ate. So that's a little preview of the things that keep in mind. If you were at fall conference, you got a cheat sheet with these things, these reminders on it. If not, I will make sure that this cheat sheet gets uploaded to share. Okay, I'm going to run you through the food recall now. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time doing this, because if you have the video from Oklahoma State, it's going to take you through this exact same thing. I'm just going to go through it quickly, giving you a little bit more than what they gave you from Oklahoma State as far as techniques. So, I'm going to start. I would start like this. Hi, my name is Monica Smith. I'm here from Michigan State University Extension today. We're getting ready to start your nutrition series, and I'm so glad that you're here with us today and that you want to learn more about nutrition. I really love food, and I love it when other people love food. One of the things we're going to do today is called a 24-hour recall. This is a measure of your nutritional status today. It doesn't tell you everything about your nutritional status, but it gives you an idea about what's happening with your food today. We want to do this because it's going to give you a great idea about maybe where you would like to focus, what kind of goals you would like to set for yourself or for your family for nutrition throughout this course. So this is going to be sort of like your personal guideline. I'm going to be handing out the form in just a few minutes, and we'll begin together. I want to ask you to please be sure to stay with us. We know that when the class stays together, we get a much better result from these recalls. Likewise, once we take this recall, once I take this, when I leave here, it's going to be taken and data entered, and a report is going to be generated that you can use. These recalls are confidential. Once they are entered into the system, nobody else will see them but you. So this is not going to end up somewhere. It's not going to be posted anywhere. But we do want to get your information accurate so that you can use it well. So it's important when you think about this that there's a person out there entering data who looks at hundreds of these a day. So we want to make sure that he or she is able to read your form well. Okay, I'm going to pass this form out now, and I'm going to tell you where to start. We're going to start up here at the top with your name, and we need you to answer a couple of other questions. I'm going to hand the form out and I'm going to walk you through it. Please don't move ahead. I would really appreciate it if you stayed with me. So I would hand the form out at that time, and I'm using my cheat sheet, the short form, and I'm going to say, okay, I have already filled out number 1 and 2 for you. If you'll just put your name in item 3. I have filled out item 4 for you. That's me. And please check yes or no if you're pregnant or nursing, because that's a different nutrient requirement for women who are pregnant or nursing. If you take any nutritional supplements, please check yes here and list them and give us as much detail as possible. For example, if you're taking a multiple vitamin, write multiple vitamin. If you are taking vitamin D, tell us how much that you're taking and how many times a day. I'll give you a minute for that. Now, this is the question that's hard for me. Money spent on food only last month. That means money that you spent at the grocery store, excluding non-edible things like paper products and cleaning products, pet food. It also includes money that you spent eating out. It includes the value of your WIC benefits. It includes the value of any SNAP benefits that you get. It also includes those stops at the coffee store or the drive-through vending. Try to think the money spent on food for your family last month. I know that's a hard one, but just estimate the best that you can. This might take folks a minute or two. Next, we want to talk about physical activity. We're talking about 4 days a week. Do four days a week or more. Do you get less than 30 minutes of activity, 30 to 60 minutes, more than 60 minutes, or you don't know? And we're talking about moderate activity like walking, climbing stairs, raking the yard, not just basically walking around the house. If you're running after children, you go to the park with your kids, you walk your dog, you live somewhere where you go up and down several flights of stairs a day, and that can be done in 10-minute increments too. So if you do something 3 times a day that takes 10 minutes, you would check the 30 to 60 minutes. If you don't do any moderate physical activity at least 4 days a week, check less than 30 minutes. Okay? Now we're going to get to skip all of this. We're going to skip 11 and 12, and right now we're going to work just in this area of the form right here. If you are tempted to come over here and write, go ahead and take your form and fold it over like this so that you're not tempted to write in these areas. We're using a method here called the 5-pass system. This gets the best data possible so that you can use this to set your goals. In this area, the only thing that's going to be written in this area is going to be food. No numbers go in this area. It's just food. And we want each food item on a separate line, please. So, for example, let me give you an example. We're doing the broad-based sweep. Don't think about how much, just think about what you ate yesterday. For example, yesterday, when I think about what I eat, I think about cereal, I think about juice, I think about, let me see, what did I have for lunch yesterday? Oh, that's right, I had spaghetti, I had a yogurt, I had some grapes, See how I'm not worrying about how much, when I ate it. I'm just trying to get those basic foods written down. So just try to run through your day really quickly in your mind and get the broad picture of the different foods that you ate. If you write closer to the left margin here, you'll have room if you need to add any detail later. But right now we just want the big picture. And after your clients, you see that they're starting to finish and being tempted to do this, you say, okay, now we're going to come back, and we're not just talking about the foods that you maybe ate yesterday for your regular meals and your regular snacks. We want to talk about forgotten foods. There are a lot of foods that people tend to forget that they ate, like, did you have any crackers, breads, rolls, tortillas with did you add cheese as a topping on anything? Oh yes, I had cheese with my spaghetti. Spaghetti with cheese. Did I have any fruit? Did I have any other fruit besides? No, I didn't have any other fruit. What about coffee, tea, or other beverages? Oh yes, actually I did have coffee. And you know what? I had that with cream too. And it wasn't real cream, it was creamer. I did have coffee, okay. Did you have any alcoholic beverages, beer or wine or a cocktail? Please get that on here. Did you have any other of those forgotten foods? Did you pass by the vending machine and grab a bag of chips? Did you stop at the convenience store and grab a candy bar? Now's the time to get those on here. Give your clients a few minutes here. And then say, okay, wow, we're just about halfway there. Now we want to talk about foods that sometimes we eat and we forget that we eat because it's just a certain time of day. Did anybody have a snack in the car? Did anybody watch a ball game? Oh, yes, I did watch a ball game yesterday. Go Sparty, go Sparty. I watched that ball game and I actually did have a snack with that. I had some popcorn with that. I just about forgot that. So did I eat anything while I was sitting in front of the computer, while I was on the telephone? Did you run any errands and pick up something at the convenience store or at the mall if you were out running errands or shopping? Did you go over to anybody's house where they offered you a snack or a treat or a beverage? Oh yeah, that's right, I did do that. I was next door and my neighbor actually gave me an apple. I forgot all about that apple. And did you, which sometimes happen, go to bed, get up and have a snack after you went to bed? Be sure that you get that in here too, because the time frame that we're talking about is 24 hours past, and I actually should have said that earlier, folks. You should tell them before they start that it's a 24-hour time frame, and that 24 hours could be 24 hours from the time of your class, so back 24 hours. And it's also helpful to tell your participants that if they start with the last meal they ate and work backwards in their mind when they're writing this, they may be able to recall more. So it's a 24-hour time. You can go midnight to midnight. You could tell your class 6 a.m. one morning to 6 a.m. the next morning, or you could tell them 24 hours from the time of your class start. But try to have everybody on the same 24-hour period. Now we come in with the specifics. All right. So we need to know what these foods really are, because as we all know, there's a lot of cereal out there, right? So let's look at specifics. What kind of cereal was it? This was Raisin Bran. And what kind of juice was this? This was cranberry juice. And what kind of spaghetti was this? This was just spaghetti with marinara sauce. It didn't have any meat. So, marinara sauce. What kind of yogurt? What kind of yogurt was this? It was Dannon vanilla. If you have a name brand, this is the time to put it there if you know what it is. That'll help us be super accurate. Likewise, if I had eaten this spaghetti at Olive Garden, I would call out the name of the restaurant, Olive Garden Spaghetti. Or if I had a hamburger and it was from McDonald's Quarter Pounder, get that on there. I wrote on here the coffee with creamer, popcorn. This was butter flavor, Orville Redenbacher's. And just a regular apple. It was about a medium apple. So now is the time to get as much detail about these things as possible. Name brands go in here. Anything that you can remember about, did you add extras? Like, did I have anything on my yogurt? Sometimes I have some granola on my yogurt, but I didn't this day. So now is the time. If you've got noodles, what kind of noodles? Were they egg noodles? Were they, this was just regular spaghetti noodles? If you had meat, what kind was it? If it was it a pork chop or was it a piece of ham? Okay? Any special cooking method, now is the time to add it. Oh, this spaghetti, nothing here had too much cooking. But what if I had here, if I had written pork chop? Anything special with that, with gravy? And it was fried. That's the time to get this in there. Okay, we're almost done. This is the part where we look at about how much did you have. So, this is when it's handy to take a portion kit with you. We have standardized portion kits that we've given all of our instructors that have a big plate and a smaller plate and a bigger bowl and a smaller bowl, and we've labeled each one of this. This is 24, this is 16. We've measured all of these. Then we have these little bags with beans in them. This is holding 2 cups, 1 cup, and a half cup. And we have several different beverage containers that show the difference in size, 30 and 24, 16 and 9. So when I'm going through and I'm telling participants, okay, let's see about how much you ate. Cereal, what size bowl did you eat? I ate in a bowl about this big. This is pretty close to the bowl that I ate. How much did the cereal look like? About that much in the bowl? If it did, that's about 2 cups. And you know what? It probably did. I probably ate 2 cups. You know what? I didn't write it on here, but I also had milk, didn't I? I did. I missed that. So here's milk. What kind of milk? 2%. And about how much? 1 cup. Juice. Let's see. Juice. Beverage. Did it look like that? Yeah. Probably wasn't quite that much. Maybe just a little bit. I just have a little bit in the morning. So, yeah. Maybe about, let's say I had 8 ounces. Spaghetti. Oh, my goodness. That looks about right. I ate it on a smaller plate, but it filled the whole plate. About 2 cups. So if you're eating something on a plate, if it fills, that looks like about 2 cups on that kind of plate. This looks like 2 cups on this size plate. Does anybody need me to demonstrate what about a cup would look like on a plate? Here you go. Or what a cup would look like in a great big bowl like this. So I had 2 cups of spaghetti. How much sauce did I have on there? I don't know. I mean, it covered the top of it. Probably about a cup. That yogurt, that was 6 ounces. So if you know what size, now is the time for you to get all your portion sizes down in here. take a minute and try to remember. And don't forget, if you've got some of these written in like creamer, how much creamer. And about how much gravy. Also get that included. Okay, now we're in the final leg of this food recall. We want to know when you ate this food. So, what I ate for my morning meal or a morning snack, that would be this one. I put a number 1. So everything that you ate for your morning meal or snack, please go through and put a number 1 beside that. 1, 1, 1. Mid-morning meal or snack, that gets a number 2. That was my yogurt, and that was my grapes. Noon meal or snack, that was my spaghetti with cheese sauce. Afternoon meal or snack, that would have been my apple. That gets a number 4. My evening meal or snack, that would have been my fried pork chop and my grapes. Late evening meal or snack. Oh, when did I have that popcorn? That's right, that was the afternoon too. I had that 4. Late evening meal or snack. I didn't have anything in the late evening meal or snack. So now I've got all my foods down. I've got the time of day, and I need to have all my amounts down. So get all of those down. As soon as you're through with that, I will come back and pick it up. At the bottom, if you would like to, you could circle about how many times a week that you eat out. 1 to 2 times, 3 to 4, 5 or more times, but that's optional. If you want to include that, we'll be sure to get that data entered for you as well. That's what the food recall looks like. If it were only that easy to do in a group, right? You've got some people rushing ahead, you've got some people asking questions, you've got some people struggling to read or write. And so walking the room and working with them and helping them stay on track might ease your suffering a little bit as you do these, if you feel like you're suffering. We've been doing them long enough where we're starting to actually enjoy doing them because it's so interesting to see where the participants are at with their meals. One thing that we have noticed is that if you can do this with them, at least a few lines, it's really helpful. So I hope that this has helped you understand the food recall. There are just a couple of other things I want to clarify. At fall conference, someone asked about, what about when you go to enter this into data entry? What if there is no food? What if that food doesn't exist? Well, that's a really good point. Make sure that if this is a food that's an uncommon food, that we know what that food is. For example, if somebody had tabbouleh, you might want to write down that that's a bulgur salad, bulgur wheat salad with tomatoes and parsley and olive oil and lemon. Because what the data entry person is going to do is they are either going to A, pick the closest possible thing, or B, try to recreate it by taking its individual components. Right now, you're going to hold a lot more power if you're entering it in your counties right now because you can remember that. But the data entry person that's housed in a satellite location is not going to know that. So that's really important. Somebody else asked, the data that's in the old system is not based on the 2010 guidelines for Americans. You know what? That's correct. It is not. This system is old and it is not going to be updated. They're putting no more money into this system because a new system, a new web-based system, is supposed to be released hopefully in 2012, at least in the pilot version. So the printout that your participants get will not be judged against the 2010 guidelines for Americans, but it's still very, very useful. When you get the report, you will take that report and you will share it with your participants. This is not something that they do and that the report just goes into the file and nobody knows anything about it. You will turn this in, it will be data entered, the report will be generated, and that should go back hopefully on your very next class to share with your participants. This item stays in your file. The report goes to the participant. We'll be having a training shortly that will help you understand how to interpret the food recall in a group to help people understand what their food recall is telling them. But it's important that you take this data and give it back to your participants. Another question that was brought up at Fall Conference is, what if you have somebody in the group that did not eat anything 24 hours from today? Let's say I'm doing this at a 2 o'clock group and I'm saying, okay folks, we want to get a 24-hour snapshot of how you're eating. We're going to go 24 hours back from this time right now, so from 2 o'clock today, and we're going to go back to your meal previous to this, the last meal that you ate. Think about that, then go backward in time. So I says, I didn't eat anything. I had to fast for a doctor's appointment. Have them go back to the very next day that they ate, but we want it to be a real day. We don't want them to make up, oh, what a normal, typical day would be like. So, okay, so you didn't eat anything on Tuesday because you had that doctor's appointment and you had to fast for that test. Go back one more day and try to remember what you ate. And that's about as far back as people are going to be able to go and have any type of realistic memory. So that question came up. One other question that came up was, what if you have people that simply are not able to do this recall? They, for whatever reason, have cognitive or learning impairment and they cannot do the recall. They are welcome to attempt the recall on whatever level they can do this. Those that cannot do it accurately or legibly will not be in the system. We simply won't add them. But that should be very, very few individuals. So that what we're saying is, oh, if it's difficult for someone, they don't do that, they don't do it. No, we're saying if an individual is cognitively impaired or unable to complete the recall, we will accept that. We understand that that will happen, that we will have some, actually even maybe groups of individuals that can't do that. We'll let them attempt it if they prefer, or if the agency member that you are working with that understands and knows these people tells us, no, don't even do it, we'll honor their request. So that's how you would also handle in questions about getting the food recall from folks that may not be able to understand the food recall in its entirety. You are welcome to email me, Monica Smith, if you have questions about the food recall. We would be happy to post them onto SharePoint under the question and answer section so that everybody can read your questions and read the answers, because if you're thinking it, somebody else probably is thinking it too. I appreciate your time and I wish you luck. And if you've not done this before, please know that by the time you've done 10 of these in groups, they become infinitely easier. You'll find your groove and you'll actually begin to enjoy doing them. Thanks a lot.